So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here with us for the third part of a four-part webinar series delivered by Botlab and Mercy. Before we begin, as customary, to allow me to introduce Mercy. She's the founder and CEO of Botlab, an award-winning firm that provides training in data science and cybersecurity. Mercy is trained in general data protection regulation at the University of Groningen in the Netherlands, a certified IBM cloud professional and a graduate of the Data Science for Business Leader program at the Data Incubator Chicago. She has over 9 years of experience working in Kenya, the US, and she also manages Africa-wide projects. Mercy founded Botlab to increase the uptake of technology use in developing countries, advocate for data science as a growth tool, and to promote cybersecurity as a risk mitigation tool. To date, the company Botlab has trained over 5,000 professionals globally. So thank you, everyone. I would ask you to kindly also to mute yourselves and to disable your video in order to maximize audio and visual quality for everyone. So if you don't mind, you could disable your videos or I will do it for you. So I'll pass on the presentation to Mercy. Thank you for being here with us once again. And I think the topic is extremely pertinent. Looking forward to your contribution. Thank you, Mercy, and good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Edison. Maybe to start off, it would be nice to see people introducing themselves on the chat section. Just your name, your country, and your company and what it does. That will also help me pick one of the companies that we will use as an example for one of the slides that we're going to do today. So welcome, everyone. The session today is about how to drive sales. So the big question is, does your business have a defined way of making sales? If you were to onboard someone like your sales director or your sales manager, would you have a documented way, whether it's informal or formal, of how you make sales for your organization? I'd be keen to see whether anyone wants to share on the chat. For example, maybe your defined way is usually responding to a request for proposals. So you have someone who's always looking out to see if there are any publications of requests or expression of interest. For some, it's looking for pre-qualification to see, and then documenting, having an Excel sheet of where you have applied and where you have been accepted. It would be good to see if there is anyone in the audience who would like to maybe share a little bit about how they do business and if they have an informal way of making sales in their organization. Anyone who would like to volunteer? Okay, so you can just keep writing. Maybe I'll come back to it and then maybe we can discuss and package it as part of the example that we're going to use today. So what is lead generation? It's generally the action of or process of identifying and cultivating potential customers for a business's product or services. So lead generation comes from potential, identifying who your potential customers are, and then onboarding them as new customers, and then activating them that they are your active customers within your organization. So you could, most people, whether it's formally or informally, know who their customers are. So you probably know your customers are women who maybe if it's jewelry and it's African jewelry, mostly I see women being targeted, even as models, as the people who are buying, and even the communication and even the business owners. You'll always find that you have a very good idea of who your business is targeting or who your current customers are. If someone asks you what industries, if it's a service-based organization, what industries does your customer represent? probably it's healthcare, probably it's telco, probably it's fintech, probably it's insurance. Most organizations have a very good idea of who the active customers are, but most of them do not have a good idea of who their potential customers could be. So I just want to go through this, understanding the sales funnel fundamentals. For every ad you place, for every business you start, always remember you have currently, anywhere in the world, you have only 3% of the population who are your active customers. These are people, if you place an ad, they will call you. If you talk about your business, they will respond or come to you. Only 3%. 7% are open. If it's maybe in real estate and you are in a room, you are a realtor. If you ask how many people are actively looking for a house to buy or to sell, you'll probably find 2 to 3 hands out of a room of maybe 100 people. How many are open? Most people, you'll find around 7% is open. They have not really decided, they are not sure. So that makes around 10% so far. Then you have 30% who are not thinking about it, but they're open. If they spot an opportunity, if they see you're giving a discount, if they translate the value and say it's a steal, or if they see whatever you're proposing, they can be able to buy, then that's around 30%. Then you also have 30%, that's a typo, of people who, 30% who don't think they are interested. So they don't think they're interested, meaning they're still on the pathway of not so sure where they are. Then you have a 30% population of people who do not need, they know they do not need, or they know they do not want the services that you're providing. So you have a funnel of around 70% of people who you need to convert so that you can translate them into active paying customers. Just a fun fact, great marketing is promoting valuable information that would attract the kind of person who would want or need your product. So great marketing is not about spamming people, it's about making sure that the people you are communicating to are actually the kind of people who want your service. So there are two things when it comes to sales. There's prospecting and there's marketing. So prospecting is where you are a hunter. So hunting means you probably are talking to a lot of people. You are also you have a lot of control on your side based on the variables that you currently have, meaning you can only talk to so many people in a day. You can only reach out to so many people in a day. You can only be able to achieve so little or so much in a particular day since you are prospective. And it's active, meaning you're the one who is always talking to these people. So it feels like it's always you to them. Marketing, on the other hand, is where they hunt you, they come to you. So it's a little bit passive because you want to place maybe content out there or an advert and it's them calling you, as compared to always prospecting. Because when it's you prospecting, your sales funnel or your sales cycle becomes very inarticulated and it's always fluctuating. When you are the one being hunted, it becomes very easy for you to actually refine and see who are those people that you want to work with. And from your already previous profile, you can also indicate, do you think this is going to close or this will not close? You already have a very good guideline and understanding to see of how that works. So the aim of any business is to stop prospecting and be more of a marketer as compared to a company that prospects. Then the other thing is about creating a sales process funnel or funnel. Some people call it a funnel, some people call it a process. So the first one is prospecting or lead generation. So this happens when you have like a lead magnet. A lead magnet could be an advert, a lead magnet could be an article you've written, a lead magnet could be some images that you have posted to the right clientele or the right demographic that you're targeting. So it could be a marketing campaign, it could be running ads, and the translation on the other side of the buyer's profile is building awareness. What you're trying to do is building awareness of what you're doing, what you're selling, and what value you want on the other side, so that those people who are looking for that particular service or are looking for that product know that you exist. Then the second part is qualifying leads. This is very, very important. Why? Because in a funnel, I want you to think about a funnel that has a lot of water, and it keeps it's at the point of start is very big, it's very wide, but it keeps narrowing down. So at the very beginning, after you have prospected, then the second one is qualifying your leads. Qualifying based on a criteria based on your industry. So this could be needs, how strong or how urgent. If you are a cybersecurity firm, you will find that when a company is coming to you, you can easily tell whether they fit your profile and whether you can close in the next few months, weeks, based on their urgency. Some of them maybe they have been hit before, so they want to prevent that from happening. Some of them it's based on board pressure because of the risk profile that comes with it. For some, they already have the money, it has been allocated, so it becomes a very easy conversation. And then for some, you are speaking directly to the person who's making the decision. Maybe you're talking to the IT director, or you're taking to the CISO person of that organization. For some, it's not a straight line. So the needs, sometimes what you do is you categorize your leads based on this. So the ones who you think they can close the sales cycle as early as possible, then you give them the utmost attention without forgetting the other categories, because as you pursue this, time is also moving. So the one who maybe is not ready in June could be ready in September. Maybe that's when the budget allocation will be there. But it also means that you do not have to concentrate too much on the people who are not interested at the point of need. That just means if your business cycle, every business has quarterly sales targets. So you want to make sure that the people you're talking to are in tune to the services you're providing, and that it is urgent, and that they have resources. Sometimes it's very frustrating for small businesses, especially when you pitch, you write proposals, you hire consultants to write all this for you, and then within the sales cycle, you actually realize in your conversations with your prospective client that they do not have budget, or you're not talking to the right person. So at the very beginning of that engagement, always make sure to identify their needs. Is it something that is urgent? Is it something that they're thinking about it? Do they have resources to back it up? And what are their budgets? Do they fit in line with what you are providing, so that you don't waste time? Then they're also a decision maker. Are you speaking to the right person? If you're not speaking to the right person, find out who is the right person to talk to within that organization. On the buyer's journey, what you're trying to do is building engagement. You have already built awareness of what your company does and what products and services you provide. On the other side, the second step is about buyer's journey, building engagement between you and the company that you are engaging for your service or for your product. Then the third step is demonstrating value. So this could be, you could do a demo, you could do a training, you could do a live event. This is to gauge interest, especially to see whether whatever they wanted and whatever you're providing, is it in tune? And if it's in tune, does it exceed their expectations? Does it meet their expectations? Because from this, you'll be able to know whether you will go forward or not. And on the other side, it's about gauging interest to see where they fall. And that's why most tech companies always provide a demo just to create curiosity to see whether you're in tune and whether they can drop you out the funnel or continue with you throughout their sales journey. And for some businesses, for this process, for some businesses, the sales cycle is very long, especially in tech. Some of the processes close between 6 months to 12 months. For some, it's very short, depending on the bureaucracy and processes of the other side. So you'll find an engagement where you start talking to someone today, you will probably close it next year, this quarter. For some, you have started that conversation in October, and by December, you have already closed. So there are other nuances that you need to also think about as you create your own sales process within your organization, because sometimes the other controlling factors are out of your range. Then the other one is negotiating and closing. And this is about making sure that the terms of the engagement are very clear, the payment schedules and the contract amounts are known, and also financing. If you were to get the job, how will you finance that particular job? And then length of service, how long is the contract, and are there windows of ensuring that you actually close or finish the execution of that contract during that period. So on the buyer's journey, it's showing commitment, especially now from your clients, that they have understood your product, you have understood their problem, and that they are satisfied with what you have proposed to them. And this is just the final leg of making sure that both of you talk and agree on the terms of the contract and the execution, as well as the implementation plan of what you want to achieve as a business. Then the last stage is delivery and fulfillment. This is about thinking as you execute, think about that this could be an opportunity for other clients to be referred to you, and also think of having repeat customers. Sometimes most businesses forget this step. Once they close and they sign the contract, especially in tech, it is usually most companies are left to implement the systems, and later on you hear them complaining that the system was not implemented well, or it did not meet our expectations, or the demo was so good, but on the ground, when we wanted to do what the demo did, then we are not able to. It tells you that there's a gap in the execution, and sometimes it's a process, it's a loop process, understanding what are your customers' pain points, especially within the delivery unit, and making sure that you put your best out. And if there are any challenges within that execution period, that you're able to exceed customer experience. Because remember, you are in the business of getting more business. So if one of your customers is not satisfied and they have, maybe you have a contract with them, they will not refer you to other people. So if you are in a niche area and your key customers, for example, if I'm working with banks, I'm working maybe right now with 2 banks. So if I do not put my best forward on each contract that I get, and maybe there are 20 banks in my region, it will become so hard for them to refer me to the other 18. But if you do a good job, no matter what hardships you get within the execution, then they're able to refer you to the other 18 or even 5 who will also open doors to others, and using the lessons that you have crafted in implementation, building on them so that you do not make the same mistakes on each contract that you get. On the buyer's journey is about experience, the customer experience that they end up getting from you on the other side. So I just want to pick an example. of one of the companies. I can pick Josephine. I see Josephine from Alris Communication Services. So maybe I can say from the very first stage. So Josephine, oops, sorry. So we'll go through. So for example, Josephine deals with technology, Alris Communication Services, so that is technology. And she is looking for new businesses for a new category. So how will her sales funnel or sales process look like? So the first one could be maybe she's introducing a new service within maybe the 10 services that she's currently providing. So maybe she's providing cybersecurity services as an add-on to the services that she's currently providing. So out of maybe 5, she has added a 6th service. So how will she start prospecting? So she wants to do cybersecurity, and then her existing customers are probably banks and telco. So there are many ways that you can do this. You can write a newsletter to your existing customers to tell them about this new service and why it's important to you and also to them, and what value do you think they can get as existing customers. The other thing she can also do is to run a campaign, so write articles, have videos online, sponsor adverts about the new cybersecurity services that she's currently providing, and even narrow down to case studies of what impact this service would have. So you could even have, maybe you can even do a pilot with someone and then get a case study story out of it that you can use as a lead magnet, especially to the targeted clientele that you're looking for. And the pilot, sometimes if resources on your end are not large, you can always request to do a pilot of maybe a month or 2, so that during that time you can get letters of referral. You can also get experience of you working with this demographic and seeing whether there are any challenges that you might face, since you're providing a new service that you are maybe not conversant before, then you're not conversant with because you've not provided it before. So your prospecting could be crafting a marketing campaign to either cross-sell to the people that you already have on board, and to a new demographic or new industry that you're currently targeting based on this. So the second step, based on Engineer Josephine's example, the qualification leads would be looking out for those people who have reported formally or informally about challenges that they've encountered in cybersecurity. So this could be banks, because maybe they report to your regulator in your country or in the region. It could also be when you see different alerts, and you know this alert means that they have currently been exposed to a particular threat. And then knowing that since banks take cybersecurity or hospitals take cybersecurity highly, and they are being targeted and they are succumbing to the threats, most of them have budgets to allocate to anything that will either help them prevent or react, meaning that if they have been hacked, then they can have someone who can help them restore their services within a short period of time. So, and then also identifying if it's bank X, who is the best person to talk to. That way your sales cycle does not get too long. Sometimes there is selling fatigue, especially in an organization, because you're speaking to too many people and you don't know who is the actual buyer of what you're trying to sell. So knowing who the right person is to talk to is very, very critical. So this, using Josephine's example, you've known that they have a budget, you know that they're being hacked and it's becoming a problem, that it has gone all the way to the board, and the right person to talk to is maybe the CISO, the one in charge of cybersecurity, or also the IT director, because you see they're the ones who also give direction to procurement about what they actually want. So that would actually help you think through who would, out of maybe the 10 banks that I was targeting, where do I start? And what loop of people do I start with? Because like we keep saying in sales, it's really a relationship and it can take so long for you to be able to close that life cycle. Then the third step is demonstrating value. In the heat of the moment, when they have been hacked, you can showcase, you can send them a report to tell them that this is what we have seen so far through, and we are, as an outsider, this is what we have been able to see, and we'll be able to maybe step in and cover X, Y, Z. Also make sure whatever you're doing is legal, because sometimes, especially in tech, it's a very thin line. Like I've seen sometimes suits where white hackers demonstrate value to the organization and the organization takes it as a hack, and then it becomes a legal case. So make sure whatever you're trying to do is also incorporated in a way, or you can use the forums like bug bounty programs that most organizations have these days to report or actually raise awareness about the value that you want to provide to that organization. One of the key organizations that I think does this is Cloudflare. So what they do is that they also give reports of quarterly reports of the industries they've been able to prevent hacks to, and the number of hacks. And you know, they have a lot of companies that they're supporting. So when you look at those numbers, most people feel trust, you feel you want to engage with these people because they think they know what they're doing. And this is also some type of demo. It's not the kind of demo where you invite people, but it's more of content demo, because it's showing someone that if you use their service, these are some of the things that you're going to prevent yourself from. And this, when people are coming to you, they already have interest, they're already at your door, as compared to broadcasting seeds and you're not sure whether it will grow or not. So demonstrating value, if you are a cybersecurity firm, or you want to come up with a cybersecurity service as part of your business, is also thinking about how do you communicate to showcase the value that you're providing. Because sometimes in the service industry, it's very hard. You know, when it's a product, you can say that this is a pen, and if you hold it like this, it will maybe make sure that your handwriting is very good. If you press here, another color will come out and all that. But when it comes to service, some people want a pilot, some people want a demo, some people want to see how you have implemented in another area. So making sure that you can be able to demonstrate the value proposition that your service will provide, maybe in terms of revenue, maybe in terms of efficiency, maybe in terms of cost, and give percentages, meaning that you have to do your homework very, very well. And this will automatically increase the interest on the other side. So once you have done the demo and they have loved the pitch, one of the things that you could do is taking the conversation to the next step. And sometimes what I've seen, especially in the sales cycle, if you're working with a big organization, each and every step are different people. So it's not that you're interacting with one person, you are interacting with different people. For a small organization, you're probably talking to the CEO and maybe the IT manager or the marketing manager, depending on what you're selling. And that can be very easy process to close. But when you're working with a big organization, you'll find that the person who you actually talked to when you are pitching is not the person that you will negotiate the contract with or close the contract with. You'll probably find that they have a buyer, maybe they have a procurement office that works hand in hand with IT. So this is negotiating the terms of your contract, payments, and making sure that one of the things that more and more SMEs are being encouraged to think about during these times is a subscription model, or a maintenance model, meaning that you have recurring revenues every other month. So whatever service you're providing a particular organization, you want to be able to bill automatically, as compared to always having to pitch over and over and over when they have an issue. So your contract could be that you provide this service, but you also have a maintenance contract maybe for a period of a year or 3 years, so that you can be able to see, you can help them prevent. And if they are hacked, then your staff can also provide resuscitation and prevent or work around when your organization has been hacked. This really helps, especially to maintain cash flows for your small business. Because like we said, you have to craft it in such a way that the sales funnel for each service is not too long on both sides, where after you close, the contract has ended after a month, and then you also have to keep scoping for more opportunities where you also do the same cycle over and over and over. So looking for a way where you can do recurring revenues or maintenance kind of revenues, especially if you're in the IT industry, is very, very key. So look for a way to provide either service in a recurring way, or if it's products in a recurring way, so that you make sure that your funnel is built to make sure that it sustains your business. So the last part about Engineer Josephine's example is that you have, about Engineer Josephine's example is delivery and fulfillment. You have agreed that you will be able maybe to provide that software for cybersecurity, and that the uptime will be 24 hours. And in case there's any breach that has happened in the system, that you'll be able to notify them, and at the same time, protect the organization and protect their interests. Most people, especially in IT, like I had said before, you'll always find a lot of organizations that have bought systems, or they have bought hardware, but they are not satisfied, because immediately after the sales funnel closed, delivery and fulfillment was not part of the equation. So once they signed the contract and they got a deposit, they've gone missing. So that becomes a very key thing for those businesses, especially the ones that are in tech, to be able to think about how do you even peg, we'll even talk about pricing later, how do you peg about, if you are sure and you're comfortable in your implementation and execution, how do you make sure that it becomes your selling point, so that you also demonstrate value? Because there are two things in IT projects. You either run out of funding, so the costs become too much. You and the organization had agreed on $1 million, and then by the end of the project, it has come to $5 million. Then another thing is, sometimes you have agreed on having a project going for 1 year, and then it goes for 3 years, and even after the 3 years, the project is not yet complete. So making sure that you can deliver what you say you will is very, very key in making sure that your sales process is very, very defined. If you're working with other parties, make sure that your value systems of the people that you will be subcontracting to understand your business and what you advocate for. Maybe I'm seeing some messages. Okay. So there are not questions. I'll keep going. Fun fact, sales strategies. Sales start after you close the prospect. So as the last stage of sales funnel, it was about execution. So these days, most people are saying, no, sale does not start at the beginning, especially for the ones who are in the service industry. It's not at the beginning. It's actually at the beginning after you sign the contract, because that's where you will get your testimonies, that is where you will get your referrals, that is where you will get your repetitive customers. So making sure that your existing customers are happy is very, very important. Most people, after they have onboarded customers, they are always on the drive to make sure they have more and more customers, and forgetting about making sure that what they signed up for with the existing customers, that they're still able to do it. What do you do when you have an interested qualified leads? And who are unqualified leads? Unqualified leads could be someone who probably said to you that they're not ready, or maybe they need to consult about the budget, or they maybe gave you a reason that the proposition you gave was above budget. So they need to go back to the drawing board so that they can get back to you. We've all been told this. Someone has told you, even the ones who are selling products, someone will ask for the price and then they will tell you, I will get back to you. So the key thing here is to make sure that you follow up with personalized content and value. So since you have identified a pain point, for example, the one where we're talking about Engineer Josephine selling cybersecurity solutions, once you have identified the pain point and you have gone through the whole process, but your process got stuck at step 4, you already know the problem. You know what they're struggling with. So identifying and being very clear about that pain point is very, very important. And also getting the reason why they are lax about commitment is also very important. And also knowing what they're currently going through. So sometimes you may be pitched to a listed company and you can follow updates in the newspapers. So you can always even know at what point or what stages they're currently encountering and what scale they're encountering this problem. Sometimes you are also a customer of that client. So if it's a bank, maybe Josephine is also a client of the bank that they were positioning to. So she already knows as a customer that they are going through particular challenges. Knowing what they need is also very important, because what they need and what you are providing, sometimes they are two different things. Alignment of the pain points, what they need and what you can provide is extremely important. Keeping the communications line open is very, very important. Meaning that if you have a function in your organization and you're inviting people, invite those people who you nearly closed, but they're still on the fence. If you see an article that you think would help the person you were talking to on the other side in your client, share that article with them, tell them, and send it as a message so that they can remember you and remember your conversation. Sometimes it's an article that you have seen, sometimes it's a white paper that relates to the pain points. Why are you doing all this? Is to make sure that they don't forget about you, and also that once you start talking, you can always find out about the status of your conversation. Most people get tired. I think if you have been called by insurance people or people who sell investment options, it can be very, very tiring, because they will call you multiple times, they will email you, and it's always about the same thing over and over and over. That creates a lot of frustration on the client side, meaning even when you call them, they do not want to pick up your call. But using some of these strategies to making sure that you are asking, but not asking. You are finding out, but not directly finding out all the time, because they will call you, or maybe you will call them to ask them about something totally different, and they might not be able to pick up. So establishing relationship even with the people who are on stage 4 or stuck at stage 3 is extremely important, because like we said, for some people, the sales cycle closes too long because of bureaucracy. For some, it is too short. Making sure that you do not lose them out through that funnel is very, very important. We'll jump right into pricing your product. Pricing your product is very, very important. You remember in the other session about customer centrism, we said pricing or reputation can cost you a lot. So how do you price your product to, how do you make sure that you're pricing your product right? First one is you can price to your competition. This means that this is especially for products that do not need a lot of innovation. For example, bread or milk. If you're selling milk, and if you come, like if you're in Africa, most African countries drink a lot of cow milk. So the variance in cost to the consumer is always by a shilling or two, never above 5 shillings. So if you want to provide the same milk, you would have to price to the competition and work back your costs to make sure that you are still profitable. Then the other one is price to paying bills. Maybe another thing I can say about competition is that you are always reacting, always. So there's really nothing that you can control on your side, because you're pricing against your competition. So whatever your competition does, if they give a discount and a big discount or an offer, buy two, get one free, you are forced to go in tune. And sometimes you can be kicked out of business out of that strategy. Then there's price to pay bills. Price to pay bills is about break even. This is especially for new products, people who are introducing new products. So they just want to break even, or people who want to do volumes. So they have brought shipments, a big shipment, and all they want to do is get it out of their warehouse. And then the other one is price to time. Price to time is also very, very popular with service-ended businesses. Price to time, where they tell you that for this project, it will take them 30 hours, and for each hour, they will cost you X. There's also a down thing about it, is that sometimes customers feel 30 hours is too much for that project. They start now looking for someone else to maybe cost it at 20 hours. Or maybe 30 hours, you had costed $1,000 an hour, but now they would want to do someone who can get maybe at 30 hours, and maybe they pay $500 an hour. So every strategy has its own advantages and disadvantages. Finding out what will work for you or your business is extremely important. Price to cost plus is where you articulate what the cost is and then add your management fee on top, usually which is a percentage of 10 to 15%. This is extremely common in construction industry, where you agree on the cost of materials, and then your management fee is 10 to 15%, and you're paid per schedule of the deliverables that you have agreed upon. So there's also a down cost. The down cost to this is that when it's price to cost, some people will go and buy materials at a higher price so that they can have better margins. Some people will buy materials that are low quality so that they can save on money. And then you as a customer, then you end up losing, because you see, if it is a construction project that that is being built using substandard materials, it means anything could happen to it. It could even just get demolished by authorities. Then price to package. Price to package is where, instead of saying you will develop a website for $20 or $200. You actually give a package. You will host the website, you will register a domain, you will create the website, you will maintain the website, and then you give a packaged cost as compared to a one-off cost. That way, they can see the value that you want to provide with that package and the administration value they will get from them picking that particular package that you want to give. Then the other one is packaging, positioning, pricing to positioning. This is where you position yourself to be the go-to person. This is extremely prevalent in service industry, especially top tier. When people think about the big four auditing firms, they price to positioning. When you think about some of the architects, the leading architects in the world, they price to positioning. So positioning is very key, and it goes hand in hand also with what we said in the sales funnel, where you want not only to be prospective, you want to market. So positioning is where you are charging based on demand and supply. I mean, how many hours can your team give in a day? And when there's a lot of demand, it means you can charge a higher premium so that your services, you can provide only to the best and only to the people who meet the kind of criteria that you currently have in place. So pricing positioning is extremely important, especially for the ones who are in the service industry. Then pricing to value is extremely good for those people who are results oriented. You remember how we talked about a building that could cost X amount of money, or a project in tech, and you want to be different? So you could actually have a base rate and then say that if our value to you is that we will reduce your cost by 30%, or we will grow your business, or service we are providing you will grow your business by 60%. So what that means is, once you have a base rate, you peg a percentage of the cost that has been saved, or a certain percentage to the growth that has been realized. This is extremely important to those people who are maybe in an industry where there are a lot of failing projects, in technology, in construction, where things are never known. And there are so many known causes of why certain things do not get to completion. And if you have a knack of always completing your projects, this pricing to value is extremely important, and it will set you apart, because everyone who will onboard you will know that you mean business. You'll know that everything that you commit to, you will have to finish, because you are results oriented, and your KPI and your financial bottom line is actually pegged to the success of that particular project. The moment you make a mistake in pricing, you're eating into your reputation or your profits. So making sure that your pricing is very, very good is very important. I know there are companies that get consultants who do budgets for them, especially when they are making proposals, because you do not want to make a mistake, because it will eat either on your profits, and sometimes if it's a very big project, your profits could really be eaten out because of the lack of the project. And the other thing is also making sure on your part is that you have a working ratio for your business. There are so many organizations and prerequisites that are out there about pricing, especially for those people who do project-based work. So I know, like most of the ones that deal with experts, 60% goes of every project, 60% goes to making sure that they have completed the project, meaning it goes to the cost of operations of that particular project. 20% goes to the consultants who've helped put that project together and also execute. 20% goes to the organization back so that she can pay for taxes and also part of their profits. So there's some who have different working around ratios for their businesses. It's very important to define what works for your business. If you are in product, if you're selling product, knowing your unit cost of everything is very important. How much does it require for you to sell one loaf in a day? So that you know how many products you need to sell in a day so that you can break even on each particular day. Or if you are a monthly based organization, so you want to make sure that you know how many products you need to sell by the end of the month and how much it costs to produce that one. If you are not manufacturing, it could mean that you are probably buying them from other people. So you also increase your logistical cost, your marketing cost, and your profit margins. The profit margins vary. For some businesses, it's 1%. For some people, it's 1,000%, depending on who your target is and what product and the market that you're currently operating in. So I want to pose a question based on what we have learned on pricing. G Suite, most companies, most small businesses use G Suite for business. So they have a suite that gives you over 30 products and you pay per user. So based on what you have learned, I'll just go back to the slide so that you can see it. Maybe you can take a guess and see how do they price. Even Amazon Web Services, which is also a cloud platform, and also McKinsey and Company, it's a consulting firm, and Alibaba especially for the people who are in products. Maybe they can tell us under chat, how do you think the different companies price based on what we have learned? Based on this slide. Yeah, based on this slide. So that was Google, Google Suite, Amazon Web Services, McKinsey Consulting, and McKinsey, there was one more. You can just write under the chat. How do you think they price their products? What strategy do you think, based on the way you have understood, how do they price? Do they price per value? Do you think Google prices per package? Do you think they price per cost plus? You can just write the name of the company and the strategy. That way we know. I can see Patricia saying Amazon Web Services is priced to package. Anyone else who wants to guess about Amazon? There was Amazon, there was Google Suite, there was McKinsey. Yeah, I can see Engineer Josephine has said McKinsey used pricing for value, which is true. Even Patricia talked about Amazon, which is also true. They price per package. Any guess about Google? And Alibaba? Anyone wants to take a guess? Yep. Google Suite is priced to package. That is correct, because they give you $12 per person, and then they give you 30 applications that you have access to. So that is priced to package. McKinsey use pricing for value, and because they also do value and they also do price to positioning, because they're at the very top. So they sell expertise. So what they do is you only go to them based on if you feel you are the right clientele and if you can meet their demands and whether you can pay them. So not only is it also for value, but also for positioning. You can do two things. So even for Alibaba, it is actually a blend because it's mostly suppliers who are selling to you. And what I've seen work a lot is price your competition, especially if it is a high volume project, a high volume product. Someone will be willing to match your price from Alibaba because of the volumes that you want, or because the cost to them, the cost of production, you only need to tweak certain things, maybe the material, maybe the period, or maybe the production time. So for them, since it's a free market and there are nearly 1 million suppliers of different things, pricing to your competition is extremely, extremely competitive in there because there are so many people selling nearly the same products, and sometimes they're also making them from the same factories. So going back to your business, it's important to understand what blends work for your business and where you would want it to be, not only today, maybe in 3 years or in 5 years, and taking meticulous steps to do the same. So that if it's positioning, what are those things you need to do today to make sure in 2 years' time, you can price to position. If you want to start packaging bundles of things that people can subscribe to, what are those things you need to do today so that maybe by next year, time like now, you would have a package that people would be able to buy from. And it has different varying cost of production, meaning you have to go back to ask yourself, if it's a mass product, how many do I need to sell every month to make sure that I break even? So what next? Here are a couple of things I would want you to think about for your business. Understanding who are the majority of your customers. How did you find them? And what services or products do they buy from you? This will help you think about how to create that funnel for your business. Once you have an understanding of where your customers and who your customers are, and knowing what they come for from you and what keeps them there, will help you create a formal or an informal funnel for your business based on the steps that we have provided. That way, if you are even to put an ad, you are not targeting 10,000 people to like your post, because you already know out of 10,000 posts, out of 10,000 people who've liked my post, I'm only looking for 100 leads. So it is very important to know so that even when you place an ad, whether you're a business in product or service, there's so many tools that you can be able to maneuver around when you're placing an ad. That way you know whether you're attracting the right people. If ads is not your thing, think about content. How do you relate the content about what your business does so that you pull in the right kind of people who will not have ordinarily known about your business? Another thing to know is, based on the base of your customers, divide them up and see how long does it take to convert a customer. I'll give you an example. This is a personal example. I was laughing with one of my friends that Corona was a good thing for us, because when we had a webinar, we had 3 clients who had always missed coming for our trainings. But when they saw our webinars, they attended our webinars, it easily increased the pace of the conversion. What we've done is that we started the process last year around June. And by June this year, that is when they had come in to listen into one of our webinars. So imagine how long that sales conversion period looks like. Already we have not converted, but we are on step 4. So think about some of your customers, maybe their process is probably 2 to 3 weeks is done. For some, it can even take 2 years of conversions or conversations before you convert. Knowing how that trajectory looks like and knowing the profiles helps you balance the ones who are taking long and the ones who will take short. That way you do not over concentrate on the ones that you might lose an opportunity on today, because your business needs business today so that it can still wait for the one who is still indecisive about whether they need it today or not, or whether they have budgets or not, and whether they need that service next year. So you need to balance out so that you don't lose out on the conversion of the ones who might convert next year and the ones who might convert this year or next year. And some businesses, you are more reactive. You are always responding to tenders or pre-qualification or EOIs or RFPs, which is a good thing. But you remember the way we said you are at the mercy of the other side. So it is also good to go back to the drawing board once you realize that this is your pattern. How do you make sure that they come to you? What is the next thing in your line that you need to start preparing on today, so that in case they do it or they take up that product, they come to you, and not you being asked to respond to an EOI or you being asked to respond to a tender and running around because you're not sure whether you will meet the criteria or not. And these two things can go hand in hand. They don't have to be done in ad hoc. Then the other thing is, what is important for them being your customers, and how do you communicate in an understandable way? So if your customers, for example, if you're in tech, delivery is very important, execution is very important, cost efficiency is very important. If these are also key to you, and you have done this before, how do you communicate these tangibles to your prospective customers in a way that they can understand? That you don't have to talk about 2 or 3 paragraphs. If you just shoot straight, they will know this is what you actually mean. And even when they go back to your customers will still say the same things. You'll all be in tune because this is what you promised and you over-delivered. Then the other thing is, what is your biggest hindrance in conversion and conversation? The biggest hindrance for some people could be maybe you're always talking to the wrong people within an organization, or they never have budgets. If they never have budgets, then that means you're talking to the wrong audience. So you need to start targeting the people who have audience, or who have budgets, or who could be needing what you currently are providing. So it's very important that you understand what could be the biggest hindrances that you're seeing in your pattern as you track, and seeing at what point does this conversation die off, and for what reason. And if you are a company that does a lot of B2B businesses, you can use a CRM to track this. If you do not feel free sharing this information in a CRM, there are so many templates online that you can just map. So you showcase the date you contacted someone, who you contacted, what proposition you were selling, what did they say, and on what date. And if they told you maybe to talk to them in 2 weeks, then you log it in and say you will talk to them on this particular date. This helps you with tracking, so that you also understand how many proposals have you sent this month, how many people have you talked to this month, what are your conversion rates like, and whether you need to revamp, and what do you need to do. Then what is the target market keyword? Is it value? Is it volume? Is it cost? For each industry, there is always a target market keyword. Understanding what they're looking for and making sure that you are also in line and can deliver is extremely important. Another quote from Brian says, approach each customer with the idea of helping him, or her solve a problem or achieve a goal, not of selling a product or service, meaning provide the value, solve the problem, as compared to leaving it at the point of sale. Because if you concentrate so much at the point of sale, you will never establish any other relationships behind or after the sale. So thank you. I'd like to maybe answer some questions.
Thank you, Mercy. Hi, everyone. This is Phyllis. Edison had to step out for another meeting, so I'll be facilitating this part of the session. So let me see if we have any questions. Either everything is very, very clear, because I can't see any questions coming from you, but probably I could ask one on our behalf. Mercy, I really like the diagram on price to, costs, price to profit, price to, okay. In our businesses and in our real world, is it possible, or do some companies have a cocktail of those strategies instead of just one?
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yes. So to answer you, I would say the price is usually packaged depending on the services that you're providing. So you probably have maybe 5 different services. So for this particular service, you are pricing to competition. For this particular service, you are probably pricing based on value. For this other one, you are probably pricing based on positioning. So it is very possible for an organization to have a cocktail mix of pricing, but it's also good to understand for what products, how do you want to position it, and whether it's long-term. You remember how we saw so many firms transition during this Corona period, especially to offer services or products just to retain their staff or retain their organization. So some of them were just pricing to competition. It doesn't mean that your company does not price to position, to branding or to positioning. It just means for this particular product you're probably selling right now, you just want to price it to the competition because it's a mass product. So different companies can use multiple pricing strategies. And if you do, make sure that you have at least a good tracking system, so that, because it comes with a lot of issues with taxes, it comes with issues with payments, especially of suppliers or your consultants. So making sure that at least maybe you have a financial system, maybe like QuickBooks, so that you're able to track. Because if you have volumes on this side and on this side you have fluctuations of how you price, sometimes you could end up paying someone wrongly. So making sure that you have some system, within your organization that can be able to price right is very, very important.
Okay, thank you. I'm back. I'd gone a bit, but I'm back. Thank you for that, Mercy. Any questions? And if there's no other question, as you can see, Edison has launched the poll. Please feel free to just respond to the poll. Let us know whether the session is continuing to add value. And as Edison said before, as I wrote on the chat before, Edison will send the recording so that you can go over the notes and just really internalize this material. Continually. He'll send it on Converb. Okay. So, okay, I'll give it a few more minutes and then we can close the session, because I see we do not have too many questions. Or is there one question? No. Thank you, Mercy. Great presentation. Thank you, Mercy. I think that's it. All right.
Hi, thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Phyllis. Hi, sorry.
Okay. No, I wanted to hand over to you. I see you.
Oh, okay. Yes, I just got back. Thank you for managing.
Okay.
I would like to remind everyone that I have already sent out the recording for the first 2 sessions. I ask that you check your emails carefully. We cannot and are unable to continue sending you piecemeal emails when maybe you missed your email or something. We have hundreds or thousands of members, so I can't do this individually all the time. So I really ask that you check your emails, and when you see that the recorded link is available, download it and save it in an organized fashion so you do not lose it. And I will again send this recording as a third one to everyone who has attended and across sectors as well and countries. So I really ask that you make sure that you read your emails carefully, because I can't send individual emails all the time. I hope you already understand this. Thank you so much, everyone. I will look forward to a couple more people to fill up the poll, and then we'll close the session. Thank you, Mercy, for your time. We have, I wonder if you have given a short introduction to the session, the last session next week.
Oh, not yet. So the next session is about digital payments, especially for anyone who wants to collect payments online, whether you are running a shop or you are running a service business and you'd like to collect payments virtually. So it will be about the considerations you need to think about before you engage anyone, and also how do you protect yourself against financial fraud and the cases that are usually out there. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you on Monday next week, same time.
Thank you so much, Mercy. As agreed, Monica said it's very well packaged, and many thanks to you and your team. We have, has anyone responded? I think pretty much everyone. So I believe we can close the session. Thank you everyone for attending, and really looking forward to all of you to participate in the last session next week. Have a great week, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mercy. Thanks, Edison. Have a great week, everyone.